think.
What are these? So these are school dad lunches?
Yeah, we got like we got a WhatsApp group chat. We try to get together like once a term.
For just the dads?
Just the dads, yeah.
What do you guys talk about?
The moms got their own stuff, okay?
What do you guys talk about? Because it's not like someone you see all the time. Like, are you? Is the WhatsApp outside of the dad's dinners? Is that thing firing up daily?
It's never firing until the dinner.
Oh,
and then it fires for people to be like, I'm gonna be 5 minutes late. But I'm hoping I'm gonna start a dad's fantasy league in maybe like July and hope to really kickstart it.
It'll bridge the gap because you don't know. Essentially, you don't know these dudes from Earl if you've gone on like 3 dinners with them.
Yeah, I see them at birthday parties like every third weekend, but
and be like, hey, you got that 650? All right, so fantasy league.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're plotting. You're plotting the next move.
Littlefinger, yeah.
Are these like rent the room type dinners or 6 dudes?
No,
dudes?
big table. Not quite rent the room, but big table.
8 dudes.
Nah, 15, 16 dudes.
Oh, that's a lot of dudes.
It's big, yeah.
Let me ask you this. I know you don't have expectations of the 15 dudes, so just 16, keep it nice and round. What's the expectation of fantasy football participants?
I bet I can get 8.
Okay. Will you look at the other 8 in a different light, like they're not being
you know what, I would look at it, and I would look at them and I would say, I bet they would want to do this. They're going to feel a little left out, but they're probably just too busy with work and family right now.
Okay.
Because who wouldn't want to be in a fantasy football league? Knowing that you're giving up a very small amount of time, but creating like a ton of. I mean, like the conversational lubricant is crazy, right? You can talk about the games, you can talk about the players, you got the draft, you can talk about your matchups with each other, who you're gonna play this week.
You could talk about which teachers you would draft.
I don't know if I go that far.
I'm sorry. I don't mean that, but I had to do it. All right, sorry. So that's the time I get a little awkward is because there's dads at my kid's school, and sometimes like not the dads that hang out. Sometimes like you run into some dads and they'll say some other teacher. I'm like, bro, it's a teacher, you know. Like, I don't know what to say to get out of that. I'm like, I just don't say anything, you know?
That's crazy. So we never had that conversation. That's something I could bring up next time, maybe.
But it's like, you're putting me in a tough spot, man. Like, what do you want me to say? No, the thing I care about the teacher is, are they teaching? I don't care about anything else anyway.
Right.
But I wouldn't even say that's crazy. I just don't say anything because
I think that's the play.
Yeah, because what are you gonna say? Like, dude, that's it's a teacher. So then you're blowing up his spot. I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, I don't think you should blow up his spot, but I don't think they should be talking like that.
No, me neither.
I don't feel like we got that at our dad dinners. I feel like we have very like enlightened, scared to offend, like modern millennial coastal dads in my group. I'll give you an example, okay? I need a second here to remember the exact context. But one of the dads, their wife did 23andMe, and then decided after she got the folder that she didn't want to open Pandora's box. The question at its core is like, would you want to know if you had like a genetic predisposition to have a disease or something like that? Like, would you rather go sight unseen and like not be stressed out about it, or would you rather know and be like, okay, maybe I've got a 91% chance of getting something like horrific when I'm 55, right? So she did the test, but then she decided, I don't want to know. But then for like insurance purposes, they were like pressuring her to open it or something like that. And she made her husband promise not to open it.
Okay.
And then the dad next to me was like, so did you open it? And I looked at him and I said, don't be naive. Because in my head, I was like, we're all dudes here. Of course he opened it. How could you not, man? You got that juicy packet of information sitting on your countertop for like 6 months. You don't even want to have like a peek or nothing. And I got no response at all. And then he said, no, of course I didn't look at it. And I was like, all right. I guess I didn't realize that we're all based here. But nobody feels the pull of temptation at all. Okay.
So you black sheeped yourself, but then.
But I think it humanized me as a man who has strengths and weaknesses.
Because you read the room and then backtracked and apologized?
No, because I willfully admitted perhaps a weakness instead of trying to project the artifice of strength in all situations.
See, I thought you would have came out and said, yeah, there's no way I'm looking at that, bro. If Kate tells me not to do something, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, do you know my wife? Like, I'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
I don't know his wife. I don't know his wife might get over it faster. My wife I'd be put in a rear naked choke or something like that. I'd be in a lot of trouble, man.
That's what I mean. So that's what I would think your response would match your reality, but your response was an alternate reality.
Well, if I was married to his wife, maybe I would have taken a peek.
But here's the thing. Have you ever done 23andMe?
No.
Would you ever?
I would have like a few years ago, but
yeah,
I wouldn't now because Chad has. I don't think it's necessarily a conspiracy theory, but Chad was like, you should not give your DNA and health data to a company to sell to advertisers and various other companies.
I am shocked. You needed Chad to tell you that. Every year my mom gets me like Christmas gifts, and there's I always tell her, Mom, don't buy me anything because I always return them. This year they were socks, like crew length socks with zippers on them so you could store stuff in them. And I said, Ma, I don't. I go, Ma, what are we doing here? Like, I don't need it.
It's a sock with a pocket.
Yes.
Like you can put your phone in it or what?
Yeah, she goes, I thought you'd use it like coaching the boys coaching the boys little league. I go, Ma, I'm not putting gum in there. I don't need it. And then I pull the socks up, and then there's a sealed 23andMe under it. I go, Ma, I threw it. I go, I'm not using this. I'm not. What makes you think I want to use this? In what world?
Yeah.
And so I still have it sealed. And I'm like, if I want to like resell it or something.
It's a kit for you to spit into, basically. And then send it back? Okay. It's not like she didn't take her data and then like is giving you the envelope.
No. She wanted me to do it. I go, I'm not doing that. What do I... But I thought that's like common knowledge that you don't do that.
I think honestly, I really feel like our generation specifically, but also the generations older than us, were really naive, especially in the early 2010s. It was like this tech utopia where it would be like, oh my God, there's a new app for this. Have you seen this? And you can send them that and they'll give you this and it's insights into and you wouldn't believe they scan you and then they can look at you and it gives you the ad that's exactly what you were like. We were willfully like, I'll sign up for that. I'll put my personal data into there. I'll put my address into there. And now we're in like the overcorrection, which is like, I won't sign up for anything. If they want an app, I'm not downloading it. You want my phone number when I'm buying jeans? Sure, you can have it. It's 867-5309. Sure. Oh wow, you got a lot of points on here. You know, I'm not giving them any more information. Like so, and 23andMe is like the ultimate example of that. So like 10 years ago, I could see myself being like, but now I know that I'm 7% Slovenian, and now I'm like, I'm not doing that. And it ticks me off because we have like a mystery in our family heritage. Nobody knows what we are. We're obviously white, okay? Like you don't get any bonus points for that. But I like talking to my mom, and my mom's like, well, we know that like great grandma came over from England, great grandpa was Canadian. So that's like as far as we know. So we know nothing, essentially, because I mean, there's English DNA somewhere in our history. Okay, congratulations. No kidding, right? So I was talking to my grandma, trying to figure out, like, hey, you know, what about, like, your grandfather? Where was he from? And she was like, I don't really know. She's useless to me, man. There's no information whatsoever. We have the oldest matriarch in our family, who is our connection to our ancestry, has no idea where we're from, which doesn't even seem possible to me. How you can, nobody talked about it at all back then. It's just lost to the ether. So I feel like I'm in a unique subset that would be like, I would love to know what kind of genetics are going on up in here, but I'm not gonna pay Sergey Brin's wife $100 just to get my genome stolen. That's madness.
But dude, why don't you just ask me? L'éternel? You're French, man. What? No, is it that big? Come on.
But then, okay, here's the thing, though. The name is French, but think about how names are passed on in our society. It could have just been one French Richard Dawson that happened to show up at the right time, and boom, little bit of French DNA creates 100% French last names. That doesn't mean I'm 90% French. Just means that I could be 100% French, or there could just be one rizzed up French guy that all of a sudden his influence has spread so far, but my genes could be Albanian for all I know.
But you know you're at least 50% French.
No, I know that when the person that was created, when the French guy married the other woman, who may have been French, to be fair, but could have also been, like, from Cameroon, that kid was 50% French. But I don't know if I'm 70 links away from that. I could be 0.25% French, or if I'm 6 links away from that and I'm 12.5% French. Or I could be 75% French. Like, because we don't know. We don't know how distant it is in the familial record, man.
Well, here's how you know. What if Laterno means, like, donkey kicker, then you know you're French and you had a donkey farm. But does Laterno mean anything in French?
I think so, yeah.
What does it mean?
I don't know. The turn? He who turns? I have no idea.
Oh, you're screwed then. Can you do an 23andMe Anon edition? Why don't you just do that?
You know what I should do, dude?
Huh?
I should send it into one of those dog 23andMe companies. And they're like, oh, it turns out that your dog is like 71% Greek or something like that. I'd be like, thank you.
Wait.
Opa.
Why don't you just do Anon 23andMe?
I don't think you can do that, man. I don't think you can do that.
We'll use a fake name.
I mean, I guess, but I'm giving them, like, my DNA. So, yeah, like, even though it's not attached to my name, they can, like, reverse engineer it pretty quickly, right? Because they got everything, man. They got the recipe. That's like saying, like, I'm not going to make you the baked ziti, but here's the step-by-step instructions and the exact measurements of all the ingredients. Like, they can make the ziti.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The ziti isn't worth anything unless they know it's called ziti, right?
It's worth something to me.
A bunch of tomato. Yeah, but
because the more people that are putting out ziti, the less I can charge for my ziti.
But here's the thing, they don't know they have ziti, they just know they have a bunch of ingredients, but they don't know that the ingredients make the ziti or how to make the ziti. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, the only value your DNA has is that people know it's Northern Lions DNA. If it's just some randoms, right. They're just going to throw it in the random pile.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it.
If there was a way to do it Anon, would you do it?
If I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to find a genuine, non-absurd level. If our public health system, not a public health system subcontracting it out to a private testing agency, if my family doctor said we can do a genetic sequence on you, and it only passes through her computer, essentially. It goes to the government lab, and then it goes to her computer. I might be open to it. And the reason is, maybe there'd still be a leak or something, obviously. But, like, the HIPAA stuff is so tight that I can't even access like my own medical data in most circumstances. Like I have to answer like 7 skill testing questions in order to figure out like what my x-ray said, right? Because they don't want to accidentally tell like another guy that my leg's not broken. So I feel like they take the data protection more seriously.
Okay. So
what would it take for you? Because you are not going to do it either.
I don't think I would, because my grandmother's asked those questions,
and but you kind of got an idea too, right? You're like,
yeah,
I'm a percent this, a percent that.
But if I were you, if I were like, you know, out there in the ethos with no, you know, House Targaryen, House Lannister, I would want to know what house I'm from.
It would be sick to have like a culture. Because I feel like, I know Kate's in chat, I feel like that's what I'm missing. So I participate in a little bit of Korean culture because like Kate's parents are Korean and they celebrate like in a more traditional way the Korean holidays. So sometimes I'll put on the hanbok. Yeah, you never seen a white guy in a hanbok before? People coming up to you in the North Road Plaza H Mart parking lot. You know that outfit's Korean? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm wearing it in the H Mart parking lot. But like the white culture that I interface with is just like, I don't know. It's like 2 to 3 generations deep. Like there's no real tradition associated with it. Like there's no, there's like a this is what we eat, but it's really like, you know, turkey on Christmas. There's no like, I don't know what it was the food of my people. Maybe like grilled cheese. It would be sick if it came back and I could like tell my mom, I'd be like, Mom, guess what? Like we're 80% Swiss. And then we could start saying stuff that made no sense and was not scientific. We'd be like, I always knew it because I loved eating cheese so much. I always gravitated towards cold mountainous spaces, right? Like we could start to make sense of our identities with some information like that.
Well, then hear me out. Then you find out you have cousins in Switzerland.
Right.
And then there's someone like you doing the same thing. And you're like, that's your people.
Swiss YouTube.
And they look like you. And you thought you were the only one.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Maybe I'd probably hate it, actually, now that I think about it.
I mean, as an only child, I would probably say, yeah, you probably wouldn't like it. But still.
Because I'm one of one. But then, like, realistically, there's probably like a few hundred of me out there at least. If we're being realistic.
I know you don't read, but don't read the book Dark Matter. Because it's like your worst nightmare. Like imagine at the end of your road, like say you're 83 years old, someone knocks on your hospital bed.
Can I just say you did go like that's old, but you didn't do me any favors.
What, 83?
Yeah.
I mean, brother, the Peloton's gonna give you +7 to 8.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like 83 is like you're batting above the average a little bit, but you didn't really. You could have put a little sauce on it.
I counted for the Peloton, but I also reduced a few for the toe walking. That puts a lot of strain on your heart.
No. It increases the muscle mass and the impact of walking, which keeps your bones strong through old age.
Right, but it requires more blood to support those things. So you're 8.
But I'm eating a lot. I'm eating a lot right now, so replacing the blood is not a problem.
Right, but it's gonna catch up with you. Like, do you think when you're 83, you're gonna be able to walk around on your toes?
Yes.
No, bro. The arthritis is gonna kick in those bad boys.
It's probably gonna hurt a little bit, but like.
Yeah. So then
I think I'll still be able to walk.
You will, but not on your toes.
But like me walking right now is not more exertion than you walking, because it's like normalized to my level of acclimation.
Let me ask you this: if you didn't walk on your toes, do you think your calves would be the same size they are right now?
No, they would be substantially smaller.
That require less blood.
We're conflating a lot of different things here.
Okay.
What is the amount of blood something requires have to do with longevity?
Because you're using more of your nutrients to support, I'm just going to say it, abnormally large calves for someone of your height.
Yeah, but what is there any correlation between that and an outsized chance of dying early?
Year over year, no. Decade over decade, yes. It's like, hey, is this little drip in my house going to cause any damage? No, of course not in the roof. But over 30 years,
you can make a metaphor, but that doesn't mean the metaphor has scientific validity, man. Okay. Or it could be like, you know, when you had chest pain when you were 15 and you were like, oh, if that keeps going, it's probably bad, and then it stopped and you never had to think about it again. It could be that. It could be that time that you had like one horrible bowel movement and you're like, I'm not going to go to the doctor for that, but if my next one's that bad, I got to go to the ER. And then a day later, you take a bowel movement and it's perfectly normal and you've never had to worry about it since.
All right, so what life expectancy number would you rather me placed on? Because I thought 83 was pretty good, man.
83 is fine. I would say maybe like 89.
Man, I've seen.
You just don't see it. You just don't see it.
I've seen you go on bizarre rants against Chad. Man, every one of those is knocking a quarter of your life off at 4 months minimum. And I've been seeing a lot of them lately.
No,
but
because
okay.
when I do that, my blood pressure raises. The blood, yes. It's like a pressure washer on the sides of my veins and arteries. It knocks the plaque off the side of the wall. And then shoots it out the next time I go to the bathroom. So I'm keeping the roads clear.
All right, you know what? I'd put you at plus 125 to make it to 89. It's a
slight underdog.
Yes, not by much, but you're not going to surprise anyone.
I also feel like people don't think about the fact that like 89 is old. Like the average guy in North America probably makes it to 79, 80. To go 9 years over that is like pretty. That's substantial. It probably puts you like, you know, in the upper like 80 to 85 percentile of male longevity.
No, the average male dies at 68, man. At least in the U.S.
I don't want to be this guy. To make the data relevant, not to Malcolm Gladwell you have to take Alaska, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi out of the data. You got to take them out. Because it's not representative of the lifestyle we lead up here.
Because a lot of grizzly bears kill people in Alaska, is that why?
It's the po' boy sandwiches and the fried chicken with country gravy for breakfast and the hard C, not the CZ, but the hard C, you know, with the corn syrup.
So you're telling me that everyone in Louisiana eats like that?
No, but I bet if you were to take, I bet there's a 6-year difference between the state with the highest male longevity and the lowest male longevity. Like if you were to put Colorado up against Mississippi, I bet there's a 6-year difference.
Librarian, pull that up. I would say it's a negligible difference, like a year or two.
And I picked Colorado as like I don't know if that's one with I guess Hawaii makes a lot more sense, as Chad is telling me.
Okay.
Can I say something with it's going to get crungoed? But it's all, because people are posting, hey, Vancouver's got an average age of like, well, not average age, but average age of death of 85.6. There's a lot of older Asian people in Vancouver. They got the longevity genes, historically. Part of it, I'm sure, is lifestyle, but like, you're looking at me, you're looking at my wife, and you're like, who's going to be around longer? She's got a lot of advantages stacked in her favor, okay? She's younger, she's smaller, she has a genetic lineage that's more associated with longevity than whatever the hell I am.
Okay.
She doesn't crash out 5 times a day.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I don't think anyone would either, unless, you know, they're worried about something other than being correct.
That's why I got to do 23andMe, because imagine it came back and it was like, surprise, buddy, you're from a Japanese blue zone. 49% of your DNA is from like Hokkaido. I'd be like, I knew it. I always knew, man. I always knew.
So, I mean, because it surprised me your desire. Like, you have a really strong desire to learn. Like, I would say way more than I thought. But you're more worried about them doing something nefarious with your DNA. Like, what would they do with it?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's my DNA. So I think the onus should be on them to be like, here's a compelling case for me to want your DNA. Because the base case for me is that I don't want to give it to you, because why should I give you anything that I don't have to give you?
But you need their service.
No.
Yes.
They're offering their service.
Right, but for you to get the answers you want, how else can you get them?
I live in uncertainty.
Right.
Right now, they're not making a case for a good enough case to compel me to use their services. One thing they could, you know how behavioral economics works. They could pay me $500 and give me the results of the test, and then I would be substantially more likely to give them the sample.
That's what your DNA's worth? I'm sure there's a lot of...
That's a starting point.
I'm just saying there's probably a lot of people in chat that would take you up on that offer right now, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to your chat.
The price goes up depending on the customer. So if chat wants it, that's a different thing.
But here's the thing. Don't you think if someone wanted your DNA, they could already have it?
Yeah, but that doesn't really concern me. Because I'm not worried about West Elm Caleb, like, getting a strand of shoulder hair and creating a golem in his house or something like that. You don't feel like I'm of this position, and it's happening more and more. Kate will tell you, like, as I get older. When you're young, they ask for your email address when you buy a pair of shoes. You're like, yes. I guess that's what you have to do to buy shoes. Here's my email address. The older I get, the more I'm like, that doesn't make sense. People were buying shoes in 1803 before email even existed. So why do we have to bring that into the system here? I'd just say, like, I'd rather not.
You say that to a clerk?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do they give you a weird look?
No, most of the time, my heart goes up to like 130 beats per minute in anticipation of saying it. And then they go, oh, okay.
Why don't you just give them a burner email?
It's cowardly.
Oh. Well, you don't read your email anyways. David does.
It's true. I should start giving them the business inbox.
All right, you want to try and get to one more checkpoint here?
Yeah. Let's do it. I think one of us has got to come over. Oh, maybe it's not xylophone. You got any idea how we do this one? I think it's got to be xylophone, man.
Okay. But how do we get around this?
I don't think it exists.
Oh.
I don't think it has a hitbox.
It's not art. Okay.
Okay, and then I think we want to flatten. And I actually think we want to, like, lower.
Little side jump? Like, hit our heads on that.
Yeah, you go first, and I'll stay. Okay. Oh, that's...
I think that's it, though.
That's criminal, man.
Okay. I think in the next decade, you're going to send your DNA in.
I don't think so, man.
Do you deal well with the unknown?
Yes. I think I would... trying to think of the best way to describe it. I think I am a person who would rather not know.
So, like, if there was a magic crystal ball and says you're going to die on March 17th, 2036, you don't want to know.
I don't want to know. Because already I accept the idea that I should be living... The idea that you would live every day as if it's your last is ridiculous, because you would be in prison, or like your life would suck. Let's put it that way. It would be really good maybe for like a couple years, and then it would all fall apart irreparably. But like, yeah, I would rather not know when I was gonna die, because I think it would also ruin the remaining time that I had. The exception is, you would use it to be like, well, I'm not going to do this thing that I don't want to do because I'm going to be dead in 6 months anyway. But I think, like, the undercurrent of every single day would be like, oh, I'm having a great day. Too bad I'm going to die in 7 years. So, like, what does it matter anyway? I think I'd rather be like unaware.
But so you don't think like if you knew and you're out at the ice cream shop and you're with your family having a good time and you're like, oh, like I want to remember this, everyone having such a good time at the ice cream shop because this could be the last time.
I think it can be a useful model or a lens to look at your life through, but I already try to practice looking at my life through that lens on a regular basis. I would love to say a daily basis, but I keep that idea in the forefront of my mind. Like every time I go out for ice cream, in my head, I'm like, the quality of your life is basically the sum total of times that you had ice cream in your life. Like I'm already thinking like that. Almost every day I have a decision that I make via the lens of like, I will not be here one day. How should that inform my decision from this point onwards?
You think about that weekly?
Daily.
Daily?
Daily, I'm reminded of the fact that I will die someday, sooner or later, and like act accordingly as a result. Not in a depressing way, like none of this matters at all, but more in the way like what ticks me off, to go back to my normal characterization, is when they ask people on their deathbed, what are your regrets in your life? First off, if I'm dying, don't ask me that. That's gonna stress me out, man. Can you just like bring me some snacks or something, or put some stuff on the TV that I like? Like I don't wanna, hey, you're on your way out. You made a lot of mistakes in your life. Any advice for those of us who aren't as old and busted as you? Like I don't want that, okay? But then I also feel like they're biased sources, because they never talk about, they always talk about like big swings. They don't talk about what I feel like life actually is. The bulk of it is like day to day. They're always like, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I took that big swing on the girl I had a crush on in high school or whatever. Oh, I wish I picked up the phone when Ed McMahon called or something like that. And I'm like, that stuff is like, I feel like that's very small in your life. I feel like an attitude change when you're our age can have a huge impact on the quality of your life. If you start to prioritize like, hey, I'm gonna die someday, I probably will have wished that I didn't stress so much about whether there was gonna be a bizarre episode, and instead just like chilled out a little bit and also like ate dessert more often or something like that. That's the way that mortality informs the decisions that I make. Like I almost use it as a balm. If I'm like stressed out, I'm like, oh, I haven't had enough time to record bizarre episodes. And I'm like, well, you're gonna be dead someday. At that point, are you really gonna be like, oh, I didn't make enough content? Like, that was my bad for sure, by the way. But like, the exception is, hey, I didn't get my work done now. Like, I have dire financial consequences for me and my family. Like, that's a different conversation. But sometimes, you forget about the trees and you just see the forest. Or if you forget about the forest, you just see the trees.
Well, as someone who's known you for an extended period of time, over a decade, I would not say that is where you started. What flipped that? Because you weren't speaking with this kind of sage advice when we were running through the streets of Sandhawk and blasted by Umpies.
Well, as you get older, I think especially if you have a kid, you start to think about, you think long term.
Yeah.
Which I think is also like why when you're like 24, you're like, I'm old. But then when you have a kid and you're like 40, you're like, I'm still pretty young.
So that helps you, like, instead of, someone keyed your car, instead of blowing a gasket, you're just like, oh, it doesn't matter.
If it's within my capacity to recontextualize, but sometimes, yeah, I'll be driving and I'll be like stressed out that I'm gonna be like 2 minutes late for something, because being late, just in a binary way, being like 3 seconds late stresses me out. I try to step back and like recontextualize it within the scope of my life and be like, in the whole scheme of things, it doesn't really matter as much as it feels like it matters right now. Like there's stuff that matters, and like continuously making a habit of being late might impact that in like some material way, but like probably better to just chill out and like not get into a car accident because you're stressed out you're going to show up at like 5:02 instead of like 4:59.
Dude, that's some. I didn't wake up today thinking we were gonna carry some glass and also just have life in Chad, man. Now I'm like thinking about like stuff I blew my gasket on. That's.
But then there's some stuff where you're like, please, for the love of God, just put your pajamas on. And you're like, in the whole scheme of things, this doesn't matter that much, but can we please just not, like I've been asking you to do it for like 12 minutes and it takes 15 seconds to put your pajamas on.
Bro, but why don't they eat breakfast before school, man? I'm always like, hey, you eat your breakfast.
Dude, she's always talking about how she wants to sleep later. So now I wake her up as late as possible. She's still mad at me for waking her up. And now she's mad that she doesn't have time to play. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Do you want to, because you said, Daddy, I want to sleep as much as I can. Now I'm letting you sleep as much as you can. And you're like, oh, I'm upset because I don't have playtime before school. Well, then you gotta pick a lane. You can't have it both ways. I can't call up the school and be like, hey, can you start at like 11:30 today? She wants to play in the morning. Plus, they go to school, all they do is play. They're 4.5 years old, man. It's not like they're doing nuclear physics.
I know that triggered you because you just tanked that jump. You just I was like, man, I asked 3 times, like, hey, eat your breakfast. So it's, when you go to school, you're not hungry, eat your breakfast. Dude's reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I'm like, all right. I'm just like, all right, man.
Stop
like,
asking, right?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm done.
I'm hungry.
Don't eat. Yeah, don't eat. When you got the grumbles at 10:30 and you were reading Diary of the Wimpy Kid, okay then. All right.
Then on the drive to school, Dad, I'm a little hungry. And it's you, man. It's your fault.
But then you hit him with, oh, well, good thing I packed it up and put it in the Ziploc bag so you didn't learn anything,
Exactly.
What am I going to do? I'm not going to send him out to school hungry, man. I got to take care of him,
You ever think about, like, I feel like I was going to school in, like, the 9th grade with a belly that had, like, 175 calories in it. Like, as a teenager going through puberty, I was like, quick bowl of cereal, no milk. That should keep me going for the first half of the day.
No milk is deranged. No milk?
Yeah. No milk, man.
I mean, that's another level.
And my daughter's a dry cereal head too. I don't know if you got the same situation, but like a lot of the stuff that I've been lambasted over for being weird or having weird preferences, I've been validated having a kid who has naturally come to those same conclusions herself, which I found amazing. And I know what you're going to say, pseudoscientific Chad. You influenced her. Oh, when you asked her if she wanted milk, you probably went, do you want milk in your cereal? No, I was presenting it completely organically. Like, yes, people enjoy milk in their cereal. She tries it and says, I don't like it. And I say, you know what? Because now I thought all this idiosyncrasy originated with me. And then it turns out it's somewhere in the code. It's in the code somewhere.
So she eats cereal with no milk.
No milk.
And you don't think that's influenced?
I don't think it's influenced by me. I presented the situation very organically.
Have you ever eaten cereal in front of her?
Oh, yeah.
Like weekly?
Not weekly.
Monthly?
2 times a year.
Okay. All right. So to me, I'm with you on that because, I'm with you on that. If you're eating daily cereal with no milk, you're 100% influenced. But if it's every now and then, they're sponges. Whatever you do, they're doing, whether you know
true,
what they,
yeah. But my parents eat cereal with milk. So where did my behavior come from?
Nintendo 64.
Could be. They do play Mario Kart 64 in one of the Sopranos episodes, season 1.
So and can I tell a cute story from the cruise?
Yes.
About your daughter. So you tell me, is this learned behavior or is this genetic? So on the Disney cruise, our families ate dinner together.
What the?
And that was me. I was grobening. And it's the first dinner, and everyone's getting to know each other. And Ryan's daughter starts telling jokes that are really funny. Mm-hmm. So is that a learned behavior or is that genetic?
I think it's learned, but it's not like she saw her dad telling jokes. I think that what happened is she told us a joke and got an insane reaction and then said, "This is what I want to do for the rest of my life."
Well, she had good jokes, man.
She's got classics, man. She's out there. And you know what I like is she's not afraid to workshop new material on stage. Like she'll come up with a joke and just send it out there, and if it gets a bad reaction, she just shrugs it off. On to the next one.
So that is genetic. No, you says learned because she got the +2s in real life.
Yes, I think so. But I think there might be a genetic component to like sense of humor, because I think there is something like magical about it, but I also think there's something biological about it. Like if you're dedicating brain matter to telling jokes, like it's coming at the expense of something else, which to me indicates that there could be a basis for like a genetic variation there. I think you can be born maybe with the capacity to enjoy humor more than another person, sure. In the same way you can be born with the ability to like, your tendons are longer or whatever, so you have the capacity to possibly jump higher.
But you're saying you have a capacity to tell better jokes than someone.
I didn't say better. I might have a brain more predisposed to dedicating
Not you,
more of
but I'm saying
the average person. Yeah.
All right, I'm with you. But she was killing him. She's got
some good ones.
My kids are not gonna laugh unless it's funny. She had them rolling, man. It was there was a little bit of a duck smoke moment for me on the cruise when I'm like, apple does not fall far from both trees on that one,
Dude, I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the things, people always ask like what changes when you have a kid, and the answer is like the answer is like everything. But one thing is like I feel like having a kid put me more in touch with my own personality, because I see elements of her personality that 100% came from me, and I like accept them more in myself. Like instead of being like, oh, that's like a personality flaw that like it would be nice if I could change. Instead, I'm like, no point. Concrete's already dry, bro. Apparently that stuff's been in there since birth, so I don't even have to worry about that. No point getting stressed about that stuff. That's in the genetic code. That's because my wife is a night owl and a long sleeper, and I am a morning person who likes to go to bed early. And occasionally there's been times where it's frustrating for me. If I go to bed at 10, pre-kid, and she goes to bed at 4, I'm like, why doesn't she just go to bed at 10 and then like wake up at the time that I wake up? It seems like it's a personal choice. But then we have a daughter who is 100%, well, I can't say 100%, but I believe her genes have doomed her to also be a night owl, late sleeper. And now I feel like I have a lot more understanding of my wife. Because I'm not like, oh, she just wants to sleep in. I'm like, she has a predisposition in her genes to prefer staying up late and sleeping in late. So now if she wants to wake up at like 11 a.m., I'm not like put out. I'm like, she's fulfilling like her genetic purpose with respect to sleeping. She's living like the way that she would live if there were no other things going on. And I think that level of fulfillment is like, I'm happy for her. And I wouldn't have had that if we didn't have kids. I would have been like, I don't know, I guess she's just a little lazy.
Or just wake up early, forehead.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you used to say.
Now that like I've seen the behavior emulated in my daughter, I'm like, okay, that's real, man. That's real. And like you can trust that it's real, but like until you see it for yourself, you might in your head like harbor the idea that's like skill difference.
Okay, just for the record, I don't think Ryan thinks, but I don't think you're lazy. I know you hit that grind on that oboe life, man. That's you can't be lazy and grind that oboe.
100%.
Right.
100%. And I'm similarly like I'm a morning person, and I thought that maybe I learned how to be a morning person as I got older, but I think that I don't know, man. I just feel like at my best, 6:15 in the morning, going for a walk before everybody wakes up.
But were you always like that? I feel like you weren't doing that till you burned Peloton.
I think that I feel like I culturally was like, as a teenager and a young adult, there's more fun happening at night than there is in the morning. So I conditioned myself into staying up late and thought I was a night owl, but it never really felt like it fit. Like I always felt like I was fighting it. But now that I've embraced being a morning person, I don't know. It's the same way I feel when I like eat oatmeal. I'm like, this is what my body's designed to consume.
All right. Well, let me.
I'm putting diesel into a diesel engine instead of trying to run it on regular gas.
Well, I need a diesel engine that's the rust is knocked off of it. So I want to get up early.
Yeah.
But I know I'm a night owl. So help me, brother. What do I do?
I think you're doomed.
No, but it can't be. How many days did it take for you to change your complexion on that?
Slowly over years, I would say. That's not too helpful. So you're probably looking for something a little bit more. Well, with a kid, you can't be that much of a... Like, it's self-regulating, right? Your kids have to get to school.
Yeah.
So you're gonna... Worst case scenario, you got to be up at like 7:15 or something, right?
Yeah, absolute latest.
So yeah,
but
I think that's...
if I got up at 4, I'd get so much more done.
Well, then go to bed at 9.
Forehead.
But it is forehead. But here's the thing: it's forehead, but it's also like impossible. I don't have to deprive myself to go to bed at 9 because I'm like, yes, it's 9, time to go to bed. This is exactly what I want to do. Yeah. But I think if you're like a night owl, when 9 rolls around, you're probably like, oh, I really want to like have some leisure time. I really want to like enjoy myself right now.
Yeah, you got to unplug.
Well, I unplug in the morning.
But you unplug, but then you unplug in the morning, but then you're plugged in all day.
Yeah.
And then just at 9, you're automatically unplugged?
9:30, yeah.
But you don't do anything to unplug at night?
No.
I never thought of that.
I would say I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I don't think it's universal for everybody. I think a lot of people would probably go crazy. But it's a rebalancing of the day, basically.
Well, I think where you steal, where you're a thief, is you're getting a workout in and entertainment. I think that's where you're stealing right there.
We're batch processing.
Yes, you're stealing from Father Time on that one. So I'm with you on that, because if you watched a movie by 7:30 a.m., if you watch another movie, you kind of feel like dog water because you've already watched a movie. You're watching a movie a day.
Right, yeah. And then like I get it, but like I mean I have a model that works for me that might not work for everybody. But you might be like, oh, it's 9 p.m. I'm just a little bit tired. Now would be a great time to play like 2 hours of like a video game. But I'm like, I don't know. Sleep is like the best recreational activity you can get, man. You're literally like paying tomorrow you. You're paying a dividend to tomorrow's version of yourself.
All right, hold on here.
Are there times where you're like, I will go effing insane if I don't get some personal time tonight? Yeah, probably. And those, maybe you stay up an extra hour or two and like watch a movie or do whatever you want to do. Eat oats straight out of the bag, standing in front of the pantry. But like on the average day, I'll clock into sleep as early as I conceivably can clock into sleep.
On a weekday.
On a weekend, especially.
Let me ask you this. Are we doing this wrong?
I don't think so. I think I see what you're saying. You want to put us on the same side so that we don't have to deal with this thing. I think we xylophone, and then at roughly this position, we follow the paddle towards that black cube.
I see what you're saying.
We might have to lower once we get over there, but
will you step one hair to your left? All right. So I'm gonna stand on the yellow block and wait.
Okay, that's fine. Look at that. I'm gonna go overhead angle.
Me too. Okay.
And then let's not do this one. Let's do the next one.
So we're just gonna.
Let's not do this one then. Let's talk.
Yeah, wait. Let's talk it out. Okay. So say we were going on this next. Say we were going. We're not. We're gonna start walking now.
Probably like now. I don't think it'll be like I don't think we'll be rushed. I think we want to be very comfortable.
So tell me theoretically when are we going?
I would say now. And we scurry pretty quick. I don't think we gotta worry about the amount of time we're spending on the pole.
And we're going all the way to the black.
Yeah.
Black
to the end of the steel, and then if we're both very close to if we're parallel, we should be able to jump, even if it's not exactly symmetrical.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's do this one. Let's go. I gotta push up just a little.
We gotta go.
Look at that. That's nothing, man.
Okay. You think if we leave, we'll save here?
100%. Okay. You know what that was? That was flying, man. That was like the pilot and the co-pilot going through the checklist to make sure they were on exactly the same page before they pushed the thruster down.
I got to be honest. I didn't believe in the plan, but I believed in you. I'm like, this thing's gonna sweep us. I was like, this is the guy in the escape room, but I'm gonna give him his numbers.
We talked it out so that we didn't have to ask what was going to happen in the moment. We knew what was going to happen in the moment, so we could focus on the mechanics of it.
It was cinema. Ryan, that was a fun one, man. Who knew art would become life, would become art?
Good stuff, Dan. Good stuff.
It was fun, man. It's good to play something again, and
good to do a little, you know what I'm saying, like a little of this. Oh! Look at that.
I'm trying to think here. This is a last question for you. Do you think, say it's not glass, but say it's like a comfortable piece of board or something, do you think anyone has been in this position before in their life? Like, without glass, but something in place of the glass?
Like with their head sticking through it?
Yeah, each person's head sticking through it.
I'm going to say no, because I think they'd be dead.
No, but I mean, like, there's a hole cut out and...
Hole cut? Maybe like in the Middle Ages or something? Like if two dudes were being tortured or something?
No, I'm saying, like, people are knowingly entering into this, and it's something that you and I, are not familiar with.
I don't think so, man. I think they got different apparatuses for that. I haven't seen Billions, though. Maybe after The Sopranos.
All right, Ryan, Gary, it was fun, man.
All right, later, brother.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.